Hi, I'm Marie Bliston, President of the New Jersey Education Association. The NJEA is committed to celebrating excellence in education. That's why we're so proud to support Teacher Appreciation Week, a special series produced by the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating New Jersey's talented and dedicated teachers.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, United Airlines, New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation, Holy Name Medical Center, this place is different, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., and by Georgian Court University. Promotional support provided by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
There it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Hell's Kitchen winner, Ariel.
Since the first time she was here, Ariel has grown tenfold as a chef. She is fiercely talented, extremely determined, and a commanding leader.
Wow. I mean, I love that show, but the idea that we're meeting the winner right here at the NJTV studio in Newark for One-on-One is a great thrill. She is Ariel Fox, Chef Ariel Fox. Winner, Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, Season 18, and Concept Executive Chef at Dos Caminos in New York City. What was that moment like?
That was such an amazing moment, especially because it was the second time around for me. So the first time was such a disappointment that...
Came in third.
Came in third, yes.
What was that like?
That was heartbreaking, for sure. When I walked out the door that first time, it was like I kept kicking myself in the butt for the next 10 years.
Why? What'd you say to yourself? I should have, could have, what?
I should have, could have pushed myself harder, thought outside the box, made myself uncomfortable. I played it way too safe the first time.
What's this dude like, Gordon Ramsay?
Well, he's a lot taller than you think in person. Very intimidating, but he just brings the best out of people.
Is it an act?
No.
He's that hardcore?
He's that hardcore in the kitchen, yeah. Outside of the kitchen, he's a nice man, but in the kitchen, he means business.
You know, I'm a student of leadership. I'm a student of the way we communicate in different situations. What I'm fascinated when I watch a show is he motivating folks or breaking them down, or do some get motivated and some get broken down?
I think it's a little bit of both, yeah. I mean, it doesn't work for everybody.
Did it work for you?
It works for me.
Hi, why? Hold on. You grew up in California.
Laid back California.
Right before we got on the air, we're in Newark, New Jersey, Brick City. Now, we have you in the New York, New Jersey area, but you were bragging about the weather in California. Say we're in allergy season. I mean, you're saying how nice it was, everyone's chill,
everyone's
you were surfing.
Laid back, yeah.
And you were prepared for Gordon Ramsay?
Well, my dad prepared me for Gordon Ramsay. So my dad is, he's definitely a strict dad, not a yeller.
Because I would say hardcore. You say?
He's hardcore.
Hardcore?
Yeah, hardcore.
In California?
And he's the most hardcore when he says nothing to you. When you know he's the most disappointed, that's my dad.
And that prepared you?
I think so, but I've always been thick-skinned. I could take it, yeah.
The fascination, by the way, we should also mention that we found out from our friends at United you're doing, because over at Newark Airport, you've transformed, you and your colleagues have transformed that dining experience, right? That's a big deal.
It was a big deal. It was, we did 36 units in 3 years in my time there.
But by the way, go check it out, see what it's like. But don't come back to this. Your fascination with food, being a chef, an artistic chef, comes from when and where?
Probably my travel as a kid. I mean, my mom was a teacher, my dad was a contractor. We didn't have a lot of money, but the money we did have in the summers was 100% travel. So everywhere we went, it was about the food. They worked late. I didn't realize it when I was growing up, but it was not normal for kids to eat out dinner 3 days a week in a restaurant. I thought it was, that's just what you do. So it was out of necessity because my mom would be getting out of work late. She's like, well, we got to go eat. But my friends would all have, home-cooked meals every night. And I realized, as I got older, that I had that experience.
When did you start cooking?
I always cooked with my mom and my grandma, but I didn't start until after I went to culinary school, professionally anyway.
Was there ever a time where you said, I love this, but I don't know if I can make a living doing it?
Yeah, probably the first 10 years of my career. Yeah, I mean, I made no money for so long working my way up the ladder, and I hate to say this, but it was definitely a male-led industry for many, many years, and I was a pantry girl. You always get put in that niche. Working in the salad station, so you always get put in this kind of role as the lady to do the desserts and the salads and
That's gender stuff?
It was back then. It's definitely changing now.
You say back then like it's 100 years ago.
Well,
Couldn't have
I've been
too
doing it
long
for
ago.
18 years, so.
So a decade plus ago.
Yeah.
Very hard to open up doors.
Yes.
Many more doors open for women today in your field?
Absolutely, yes.
Have shows like this changed things?
I think definitely. I mean, when the Food Network took off and, all the competitions, Top Chef, everything has been definitely shedding some light on some really great talent, female talent.
Let me ask you this. Dos Caminos, New York City, you're the concept executive chef. What is that as opposed to another kind of chef?
So basically, I oversee all of the development from a brand standpoint, from a culinary standpoint. So all menu development. They brought me in to take over and kind of breathe new life into the brand. It's been around for a long time.
You keep saying the brand. I'm a student of branding. What do you mean by branding?
So the brand of Dos Caminos, what is regional Mexican cuisine? What story do we want to tell to the guest? What experience are we looking for with the food? So it's not just about, coming up with dishes and cooking whatever I want. It's about figuring out, what is the identity of the restaurant.
Get you back there working hard. What message do you have for lots of folks, young people and others watching, who believe they have a dream and it has something to do with food, the culinary arts, but it's a challenging field, just like media or anything else? What's your message to them?
The same message I told myself when I walked out the doors the first time, don't play it safe.
Hold on. When you walked out the doors coming in third
of
for
Hell's Kitchen, yes. Don't play it safe. From this moment forward, you've got to push yourself. You've got to make yourself uncomfortable.
Whoa, I'm a big student. I tell them I teach public speaking. People, they say I'm uncomfortable speaking. I say, start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
That's what I mean, but what do you mean?
That's precisely what I mean. If you can't find your zen amongst the chaos and the angst, you're not pushing yourself hard enough, and you'll never succeed or get further than the wall you've put up for yourself. So you have to constantly be uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not going to grow.
That's so much. By the way, before I let you out of here, you mentioned your zen. You do yoga?
I don't. I look like I do yoga with my calm all the time because I do have this sense of calm, but it's never been for me.
I love it. So I love how you said you look, because you do look like.
I look calm, but
Do I look like I do yoga?
Yeah, you look like you could do yoga.
No, the answer is no, but I do. I'm not bragging. Hey, listen,
Okay.
Is it also a fact, because we're hard and we're tough here,
Yes.
that your favorite food is Italian?
It is.
From my people.
But
is it Southern Italian?
Coastal, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh,
Our family's from
there's
Naples.
Nothing like coastal Italian cuisine.
30 seconds left. Tell people why our food, my family's food, is the best.
It's vibrant, it's fresh, it's simple, it's from the earth and the sea. It's the perfect marriage of all of those
Is it like the
flavors.
people of Italy?
It is. My favorite people and my favorite food.
Patty, you smiling right now? It's true, right?
It's my favorite, my favorite place to go.
We are honored by Chef Ariel Fox, winner of Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen Season 18. Came in third a while back, but you know what? You took it and you grew from then. That's all that matters. Also, a concept executive chef, Dos Caminos in New York City, and all we know here at Public Television is you are a winner. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Steve Adubato. Man, we're trying to win every day. I sound like Charlie Sheen right now. Be right back right after this.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, Email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
I'm Steve Adubato. It's my pleasure to introduce two of the greatest educators you will ever meet who have been working together for 15 years. Mary Sakis, social studies teacher, diversity club co-advisor at Watchung Hills Regional High School, and Jamie Lott-Jones, social studies teacher, diversity club co-advisor. You have the same title. This is ridiculous. You've been working together, same title, Watchung Hills High School, and we have you as part of our Classroom Close-Up series we're doing in cooperation with the folks at the NJBIA. What are you doing over there that's so special? We're about to see a video in a minute. What's so special about what you're doing?
Well, we have such great kids that do special things, but our students have led an initiative to teach a lesson on Islamophobia. That one of our diversity club members, Helen Yang, was just concerned about comments that she was hearing in classes about Muslim stereotypes, and she came to us one day and said, "Hey, I'd like to create a lesson. Could we teach it in some of the freshman classes?" And we both teach freshman world history, and we said, sure. So she worked on it for about a month or so, and her and another friend of hers, Alana Margulies, created this lesson. They found the student voice resources, they found the TED Talk, they put together the PowerPoint.
So there's a whole program.
And it is.
Listen, we're about to see this video. I hope this video doesn't say everything you just said, because let me just tell you. No, it's actually one of the great videos.
They'll do a great job.
They really do a great job at Classroom Close-Up. I promise you can jump in right after this. We're about to see this video.
Good.
Check this one out.
What do you think when you look at me? A woman of faith, an expert, maybe even a sister? Or oppressed, brainwashed, a terrorist?
Dahlia Mogahed's inspiring TED Talk about living as a Muslim in post-9/11 America is just one of the tools 12th graders Helen and Alana are using to get these history students talking about the topic of Islamophobia.
I think that bringing a subject like Islamophobia to the classroom, especially in a world history classroom, I think it brings that element of discussions about things that we don't talk about a lot in our curriculum.
How can we define Islamophobia? We're gonna sort of come up with a class definition for this. I don't think anyone really, in their heart of hearts, believes that making fun of someone or being Islamophobic is the right thing to do, but if it's not something we're actively discussing and if it's not something that's on their mind, then that might just be their default.
How do you guys think that stereotypes are created? Like, what are some of
Helen and Alana developed the lesson as part of their involvement in the school's diversity club.
Helen actually approached us at the beginning of her sophomore year and said, "I read this article, we need to do something about it." And I said, "All right, what do you want to do?" And she said, "What if we make a lesson?" And they began to put the whole presentation together.
In one part of the lesson, students are asked to read and discuss varying accounts of discrimination experienced by Muslim teens.
She grew up in America, and her last name was Hussein. So a lot of people thought they would make fun of her and think that she was related to Saddam Hussein.
I love that so many students share different perspectives, and I think that's what's important about these lessons. I mean, I don't want to come to a class and be preaching to the choir, basically, right? I think that it's important to really learn from each other's beliefs.
It's good that our generation is learning how to speak for ourselves and create our own ideas.
It's practicing and giving them a voice, that my voice matters. And here you can see with Helen and Alana, who have used their voice to make change in the high school, this is what you can do. If they can do it, you can do it.
I think that talking promotes action. I don't think that talking is enough. So what we did today, obviously that's important, but it's all about shaping a mindset. Once you have this conversation, the reason it's impactful is because then people feel empowered.
I think these discussions are important because it continuously reminds you that it's not over. The fight's never over. It's happening all around the world, and if we don't try to make a difference, no one will.
They're giving this talk, especially to the freshmen as they're coming into school, and it's embedded in our unit on the Middle East. So this has helped the kids feel that the school is a safer place, that our classroom is a safer place, and that maybe they have allies that they'd never realized they had before.
Folks, I've been watching Classroom Close-Up videos for about 10 years now, and I have to tell you, that's not what I expected. That was extraordinary. The last young woman we saw, a freshman. They were freshmen.
Yes.
And the two young ladies, Helen and
Alana.
are going where
Well,
right
they
now?
are freshmen. Helen attends Columbia, and Alana is at Johns Hopkins.
These
They're
are
pretty
leaders.
amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing kids.
These are leaders.
Yes.
What are they taking away from this in terms of life experiences and how they interact with others?
Well, when I first started at this school, I inherited the diversity club, and it was kind of like celebrating dinners and holidays, and I said, we need to do more. We need to find ways to empower our kids to speak up, and we started an initiative where we actually created a slogan that our kids use, which is speak up, stand up, stop hate. And it has woven its way all the way down to the elementary schools, so that when we have incoming freshmen, like you saw in the video, we can say speak up, and the kids will finish the slogan and say stand up, stop hate. I have a poster in the back of my room that says, speak your mind, even if your voice shakes.
Say that again.
Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes.
So a kid's nervous, afraid, uncomfortable speaking in public, and you tell them, just share your voice.
Yeah.
Even if your voice is shaking.
And you create an environment in the classroom where students feel comfortable speaking.
What is this whole thing about these upstanders? What is an upstander?
So we practice a lot, and we teach them to kind of embrace what they should do versus what they could do and model it. And through that, many years ago, I had seen Samantha Power speak, and she used the word. She said, I don't have a good word for someone who moves from being a bystander to an upstander. So I'm using this word, and I came back to the school and said, Mary, we have to use this word. And I started putting it into my curriculum. And two of our students actually won awards and were designers of the Change.org movement to get the word upstander added to the dictionary.
How rewarding is this for you?
Incredibly rewarding. I mean, I'm fortunate to work with some amazing students. And really, our goal as educators is, we impart knowledge every day. We want students to have 21st century learning skills, thinking skills, be able to collaborate. But we want students to be able to find their voice, right? They want to be able to find who they are as people. And what is their identity? Who am I? And what kind of positive difference can I make in the world? And we feel like if they can do this in high school, if they can have the tools like to change people's hearts and minds and make a positive difference, if I can do this in high school, why can't I do this in the greater democratic society that we live in?
Particularly in the polarized world that we live in, divisive, not just political environment, but social, cultural environment. How much more important is what you are doing?
I think it's essential that our kids feel that our classroom is a safe place, that they can feel empowered to make their town a safe place, to make their state a safe place.
So, excuse me, someone's talking about the other. They're the other.
Yeah, so we do a lot of work to break that down and to separate why do we make divisions between us and them? And why is it so superficial and stupid, for lack of a better way to put it? And how do we bridge those gaps and find, so we talk about microaggressions, and we talk about just how you, and how you reach out to others, and how you be the upstander for someone in the hallway, in the lunchroom.
And the most important thing is student voices. And we have a diversity of students in the school. So when they share their voice and they can share their perspective and their experience, that is where the meaningful learning takes place. Like, this is what my friend has gone through. I understand their ethnicity, their race, their gender.
Our differences.
Which are really not all that different in some ways.
Mary and Jamie, thank you.
Thank you very much.
For everything you're doing every day for these young people, which means for the rest of us later on when they become leaders in public. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back right after this.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
The doctor's in the house. He's back. It was a different studio, but he's back with us right now. He's Dr. Keith Libou, Chief Clinical Officer, Delta Dental of New Jersey and Connecticut. Good to see you, Doctor.
Steve, thanks for having me back.
It's good to have you. Last time we talked all about oral health and a whole range of areas, but I want to jump right into this. Let's shift gears. By the way, Delta Dental, one of the big supporters of the programming we do on oral health. You want to talk about the opioid crisis and how it's related to oral health. And I'm like, huh? Break it down.
Well, Steve, when you look at the opioid crisis, and it's obviously a crisis, and it's affecting New Jersey in a very serious way, you have the illegal opioid crisis, illegal drugs, then you have the prescription aspect of it. And a lot of people believe that people that get involved with the illegal drugs, illegal opioids, start with prescription drugs. And doctors and dentists have done a great job over the last 5 years reducing the number of opioid prescriptions they write. You know, by some accounts, it's down by maybe half. But we know there's still a very serious problem with opioid prescriptions. Some of the doctors who are out there are writing longer prescriptions for more pills. So we came up with two very innovative ways to approach this. The first thing we're doing is working with very large clients that have a very large footprint within the state. We've developed the ability to merge their pharmacy data with our dental data.
How would that help? So you know the pharmacological history, you got the dental data, and what could you potentially find, hypothetically? Let's lay it out. What could you see?
What it lets us do, it lets us identify dentists who, by specialty, are prescribing against the recommended guidelines for opioids in terms of number of pills, number of refills, number of days.
Potentially over-prescribing?
Well, prescribing against the FDA's regulations for opioids.
And then what do you do when that happens?
That's a great question, and that is the question. So
whose job is that to regulate that?
Well, the dentists are exposed to continuing education, and and there's constantly an emphasis to get them to move away from opioids wherever possible.
Is it about education, doctor? So say a doctor is going, as you said, against the prescription protocol. What do you do at that point?
Well, as we identify these dentists who are prescribing against the guidelines, we're going to look at their data, and then what we're going to do is we're going to proactively engage those dentists in a way to just make sure that they're aware of the current guidelines.
Sometimes it's a lack of awareness.
It very well could be a lack of awareness. Now, we're also very aware of the fact there are going to be those dentists who get the most difficult cases. And those are the dentists that there could very well be a very legitimate reason why they're writing what they are. But there is an opportunity to make other dentists more aware of the current guidelines.
Stay on this. And by the way, let's put the website up so people can find out more. First of all, part of the question is answered by what we're doing right now. How are we going to make patients more aware of this? But first of all, it's what we're doing right now. But the other question is, what should patients be doing as they are going in to see their dentist who are learning about this right now? What should they be concerned about, A, and B, asking anything in particular of their dentist?
Absolutely, and that's our second initiative. And what that's going to involve is we've identified a set of procedures that are much more likely to generate maybe discomfort after the procedure, more likely to generate a prescription for opioids. So these tend to be the bigger ticket items like wisdom teeth extractions. So when we get a pre-treatment estimate from the dentist, asking, just confirming it's going to be covered, how much is going to be paid, when we send the copy of that estimate to the patient, we're enclosing literature that lets the patient know that there are alternatives to opioids that are very, very effective, and that they should engage their dentist. They should talk to their dentist about these alternatives. So it gives us an opportunity to get to the patient before the opioid prescription's even been written.
Let's do this in the time we have left. We've talked about it before, but talk about it again. Dr. Libou, make the connection between gum disease and heart disease.
That is a very important connection. So over the past 15 years, there's been this growing body of evidence, and it gets stronger every year, about the relationship between gum disease and any number of physical problems: heart disease, stroke, diabetes, dementia has been in the news a lot lately. So there's this, we're not at the point yet where we can say one causes the other, but we know there's a very strong relationship. People with untreated heart disease, untreated periodontal disease or gum disease are 3 times more likely to die from heart disease.
3 times more?
3 times more.
What about the diabetes piece? Any development since the last time we talked a couple of years ago?
Definitely. So what's happened since then? So the last time I was on, I let you know that Delta Dental was conducting a pilot program through New Jersey where we were having dentists test patients for diabetes. And since then, we have gone to, we went to the state board, and they determined it was within the scope of license for dentists to test patients for diabetes. And then we went to the American Dental Association and requested a code for dentists to test patients for diabetes. And then this year, we're covering our members for their dentists to test them for diabetes. The one thing I would want to mention is for patients that have risk factors for diabetes but have not been recognized yet, that's really who this is for. And the test that we're using is called an A1C test.
3 seconds left. A1C test, which is?
3-month blood sugar average. So instead of just a regular blood test, did they have breakfast this morning, it could affect the results. A1C is a 3-month average.
And that information is very valuable.
Very valuable, and patients that test positive would get referred to their physician, potentially identifying diabetic patients years earlier than they otherwise would.
Dr. Libou, thank you so much. As usual, when you're in the house, we learn. Appreciate it. Well done.
Thank you, Steve.
Catch you next time. I'm Steve Adubato. This is One on One.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One on One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, United Airlines, New Jersey Sharing Network, Holy Name Medical Center, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., and by Georgian Court University. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Holy Name Medical Center is leading the statewide effort to improve end-of-life care through the use of advanced directives, recognizing a person's wishes on how they want to spend their last chapter of life isn't about death, it's about living. Our goal is to help all patients maximize their quality of life in their final months, weeks, days, and hours.